Joshua chapter 6. Now Jericho was in a state of siege, because of the presence of the Israelites. No one left or entered. And to Joshua the Lord said, I have delivered Jericho, its king, and its warriors into your power. Have all the soldiers circle the city, marching once around it. Do this for 6 days. With 7 priests, carrying ram's horns ahead of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times. And have the priests blow the horns. When they give a long blast on the ram's horns, and you hear the sound of the horn, all the people shall shout aloud. The wall of the city will collapse, and the people shall attack straight ahead. Summoning the priests, Joshua, son of Nun, said to them, Take up the ark of the covenant, with 7 of the priests carrying ram's horns, in front of the ark of the Lord. And he ordered the people, Proceed and surround the city, with the picked troops, marching ahead of the ark of the Lord. When Joshua spoke to the people, the 7 priests who carried the ram's horns before the Lord marched and blew their horns, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. In front of the priests with the horns marched the picked troops. The rear guard followed the ark, and the blowing of horns was kept up continually as they marched. But Joshua had commanded the people, Do not shout or make any noise or outcry until I tell you. Shout. Then you must shout. So he had the ark of the Lord circle the city, going once around it, after which they returned to camp for the night. Early the next morning, Joshua had the priests take up the ark of the Lord. The 7 priests bearing the ram's horns marched in front of the ark of the Lord, blowing their horns. Ahead of these marched the picked troops, while the rear guard followed the ark of the Lord. And the blowing of horns was kept up continually. On this 2nd day they again marched around the city, once before returning to camp. And for 6 days in all they did the same. On the 7th day, beginning at daybreak, they marched around the city 7 times. In the same manner, on that day only, did they march around the city 7 times. The 7th time around, the priests blew the horns, and Joshua said to the people, Now shout, for the Lord has given you the city. The city and everything in it is under the ban. Only Rahab the prostitute, and all who are in the house with her are to live, because she hid the messengers we sent. But be careful not to covet, or take anything that is under the ban. Otherwise you will bring upon the camp of Israel this ban and the misery of it. All silver and gold, and the articles of bronze or iron, are holy to the Lord. They shall be put in the treasury of the Lord. The fall of Jericho. As the horns blew, the people began to shout. When they heard the sound of the horn, they raised a tremendous shout. The wall collapsed, and the people attacked the city straight ahead and took it. They observed the ban, by putting to the sword all living creatures in the city, men and women, young and old, as well as oxen, sheep, and donkeys. To the 2 men who had spied out the land, Joshua said, Go into the prostitute's house, and bring out the woman with all her family. as you swore to her you would do. The spies entered and brought out Rahab, with her father, mother, brothers, and all her family. Her entire family they led forth, and placed outside the camp of Israel. The city itself they burned, with all that was in it. But the silver, gold, and articles of bronze and iron, they placed in the treasury of the house of the Lord. Because Rahab the prostitute had hidden the messengers, whom Joshua had sent to reconnoiter Jericho, Joshua let her live, along with her father's house, and all her family, who dwell in the midst of Israel to this day. On that occasion Joshua imposed the oath, "Cursed before the Lord be the man who attempts to rebuild the city, Jericho. At the cost of his firstborn will he lay its foundation, and at the cost of his youngest son will he set up its gates." Thus the Lord was with Joshua, so that his fame spread throughout the land.